And now we're going to talk to ForexKobane. It's my first interview with ForexKobane. I've seen you on Twitter for a long time. My trading warrior brother, great to have you with us in F.A.C.E today.
Hey, Dale.
Hey, nice to meet you. How are you today?
Doing well. How you doing, Dale?
Doing good. So why don't we start here? Why the handle ForexKobane?
That's actually a bit of a bite off of another Twitter guy, but
Okay.
you know, everybody's got their favorite celebrity on Twitter, and ever since I was a kid, Kurt Cobain's always been a favorite celebrity. So I happen to like the white glasses, and then slapping the you know, the currency logos in there. I think that it fits well.
You know, a lot of people were excited to hear you being interviewed. You may have to do it more often. So why don't you tell us a little bit how you got started, who influenced you, maybe what you were doing before you became part of the trading mafia family?
Well, you know, first of all, I still just do it in my part-time.
Okay.
I'm just a retail guy. You know, I'm still learning.
Okay. We all are.
I got into Bitcoin probably around 2014 or so.
Nice.
And started trading that first. And I had the unfortunate, you know, circumstance of having beginner's luck in that. So I thought I knew what I was doing, because in the beginning I was actually doing fairly well. And it kept me going into the point where, you know, I obviously started really not doing well. And then from there, I really wanted to understand why I wasn't doing well and what it takes to be good in this game. So that turned me to technical analysis and just wanting to learn more about it.
Who influenced you?
Guys. There's actually a variety of folks on Twitter who first influenced me. Okay. And the original influence, of course, was just, you know, how can I make some more money on this thing? But there was guys on Twitter that I saw that were presenting, you know, these interesting ideas, and they were posting charts, and I wanted to know more about it. So I got a TradingView account and started playing around and messing around with indicators and having things, you know, send me one direction and then another indicator send me another direction, and started to learn the value and kind of dialing it down and just simplifying a process, which I'm still working on. You know, we're all still working on our process. Okay,
so why don't you kind of tell us what your setups mean here and what's important for you to monitor, looking at the EURUSD, what the 300-minute chart that you're using right there? What's the 300 on there?
Yeah, so that's a 300. I don't even know if it makes sense, but
I prefer like a 5-hour chart.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a 5-hour chart.
Okay.
So, you know, everybody's charting in these standard time frames, right? 1 hour, 4 hour, 12 hour.
Right.
So whether it makes sense or not, what I like to do is I like to chart outside of those time frames, and I feel that if you're doing something like on a 4 hour, each of those candles are compiling just a little bit more data than like a 4 hour, and it changes the structure of the wave ultimately.
All right, so obviously you're a nonconformist. So so you want it to be unconventional with your time frame, because, you know, I don't think I've interviewed many people that use 5-hour charts. So what else is up there that is kind of from your own trading creativity? Like I see you have different rectangles. Are those just pivots, supply demand zones that you have up there?
Pretty close to it, but really, instead of pivots, what I like to go for is I like to take a you know, zoom way out and look at something like even the daily or the weekly or the 2-week chart or the monthly, and I like to identify zones where something pretty significant happened. You know, I don't feel that every price level really means something, but if you zoom out you can see the meaningful price levels. And when I say meaningful, I'm talking about, like, I guess banks, or, you hear the term MM, like market maker.
Right.
So they've got their levels, and, sure enough, if you give it time and you let price come back to their levels, it'll probably do something significant again.
Interesting. So how long of a do you have to go out to, say, a weekly chart for those to become obvious to you, or you said you have to look longer term to find the good levels? What time frame do you look at?
Yeah. So these rectangles, are probably drawn on something like the daily or even the 2-day.
Okay.
So I'll mark lines with, like, I got this solid green line here, and I'll mark a solid line off of a higher time frame, and I'll put a box next to it. A box is, or a rectangle, it's a little bit hard to gauge because some of them are going to be 25 pips wide, some of them are going to be 30 pips wide, some of them might be 35 pips wide, but I generally keep them in that range.
Okay.
And you can see here, like in the little yellow annotation that I've got, you can see that, from my experience at least, if you wait for price to start doing some action around the box, and especially something like a significant line, like a solid line, which means, like I said, it's drawn off of a much higher time frame. If you catch something a little bit outside of those zones, that's where I found is the best risk to reward. I think a big part of this game is identifying where these safe or really good risk to reward zones are. Everybody's got their own method of doing it, but this is just mine. Okay,
so interesting. You talk about action outside of the significant zone. So, it's still my belief. It used to happen in open outcry. Now it happens just through algos or black boxes. So you kind of look for a stop hunt where people might normally have their stop at the top of the box. Sometimes it probes it for liquidity and then reverses. So you're kind of looking for stop hunts, aren't you?
Absolutely, just like your handle.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking for those stop hunts. That's something that I discovered in the game of futures and forex, is they're really just trying to hunt stops. They're trying to take stops out, and once you kind of start to wrap your head around that, it doesn't necessarily give you an edge all in itself, but it gives you a little bit of direction, because then you start to look for those zones.
Okay. All right. So let's see. So is this a fairly up-to-date chart in the euro? So maybe you could tell us what you'd be looking for from here based upon this. This is kind of a ranging market. Do you prefer trading in a range-bound market or a trending market?
I probably do most of I don't necessarily have a preference, but I probably do most of my trading in a ranging market, just because I find it easier to catch these little zones. I have what I call like an impulse move, and it's generally the first significant candle on something that looks like it could be a good reversal.
Okay.
So I've got this one marked in red here, and by the way, this chart is just from just before the market opened on Sunday.
Okay.
I'll switch to trading view, and we'll try to identify.
All right. How do you know the difference just from one candle whether it's an impulsive or corrective candle? Is there any way to know?
You don't really know until another candle or two is printed. So if I see something like this move here, there was already some significant action moving up, and then it started to print what looks like it's going to reverse, and then another good candle that kind of confirms that it's reversing. So then I'm going to assume that this was really like the impulse candle, and I like to pick a zone that's right behind it. And then I'll wait. I'll wait for it to do its whole bit. I didn't necessarily take any action here in this whole blue box because I already saw that it was bouncing in and out of it, and I've had this blue box here forever. So I waited till it actually retraced almost, whatever, almost 90% of the way back to pretty close to this high. And really the only thing that I played on this one was just a few candles down into here. And once it came back into the box, I already had an idea that the box is probably gonna get it to reverse. So I mean, I could have played it down here, but the point was I thought this was the safest move.
Okay.
And this was the safest move for entry, and then this was the safest move for exit.
All right, something I've noticed, maybe you have, I just noticed it here, just looking at it. Your first example, the reversal happened on a red candle right away and followed through. The purple peak that you have, the correction from the high had another blue candle before a red candle came in. The high of the move up there, you had a red candle and it was directional. So have you noticed that maybe the better moves start when candles switch colors right away instead of hesitating from a peak or a trough?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay, because if you haven't, it's something I noticed today.
Yeah, good observation there, Dale. Okay. There's a whole world of charting just off of these types of candles. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. The Heikenasi.
Okay, yeah, I have a hard time with that too.
I don't necessarily go off of that, but I definitely pay attention to it at least a little bit, because it gives you an idea. So I also look for what the wick looks like, before it reverses, and then it's like you said, then I'm looking for the change in color of the candle to really confirm that reversal.
How many years have you been at it?
I've really only been doing technical analysis since 2015.
Okay. So you're in your third year.
Yeah, I'm only in my third year.
Well, you should be hopeful now, because a lot of the guys that have made it in the business, the average answer before they have breakthroughs and they can learn to become consistent is about 4 years. So you can't learn experience; you have to put in the time, don't you, Cobain? And in this, it's screen time.
I agree 100%. That's definitely something that I learn and reaffirm every day.
Okay.
I can tell I've still got a long ways to go, and I understand that. And subsequently,
who's your favorite follow on Twitter?
There's a bunch of good guys on Twitter. I mean, there's funny guys that my favorite. I think probably one of the most valuable guys and one of my personal favorites, just as a guy to talk to on Twitter, is there's a guy, Hotshot. I spend a lot of time talking to him in DM. Well, shout out to him. Okay. There's also Miyad Khosravi.
I know him. Yes, I know him. The first one was what? Hotshot. He's
a good guy. We share a lot of charts in DM.
Okay.
So I've always got an appreciation for someone who's a chartist. There's plenty of good chartists on Twitter.
Okay.
But just all the guys and girls that share valuable information on there, for free, it's a pleasure, and we should all be appreciative of that. So
I want to ask you this, because there are a lot of people in your position that are still working and learning how to trade and trading. What session do you mainly trade with the kind of schedule you have?
Well, I'm on the West Coast, so I spend a good portion of my time trading the Asian session, because it's when I get off of work.
Okay.
I've also noticed that there's, maybe because I don't have experience in markets going back, a decade plus, but from my experience, what I've seen is that there's actually a lot of good moves in Asian session, and you don't need, it all depends on what your trading style is, and what kind of leverage you're using, what kind of time frame you actually trade in.
Okay, so you're not the first person that said that there are decent scalping opportunities in Asia. I would just add to that very few turning points happen in Asia, but there are interesting trades, especially more lately. A lot of stuff's been happening over there. since the tariff talk became a reality.
Yeah, that's true. I've definitely been noticing that. In the 3 years I've been spending time on charts, I have noticed that as of lately, like you said, with the tariff talk, that it's we're actually getting bigger, better moves in Asian session. Definitely the best moves happen for me in Forex from what I've seen in the London session, but yeah, I'm usually knocked out. I'm usually knocked out at that time, so I don't catch all that.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast too. I'm up at 3:30 a.m. every day. So Jake,
there you go.
Our life is like a farmer, up before sunrise, asleep after sundown, except that we nurture seeds of greed for the harvest of pips.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah, you can use it. So what's your goal? Is your goal to be able to leave your job and just full-time trade and be mobile? You want to manage money? You want to be a mentor to people? Do you have any goals or visions for your trading career? That I talked to a guy yesterday. He said he'd like to be hired by a hedge fund or sell its platform to one. What's your goal and your vision for your trading career?
For me personally, I would like to get to a point to where I can rely on it, for a good source of income. I read various books, and there was one thing that kind of stood out to me a few years ago. It was I think it was a book written by Charles Bukowski, and he said, once you get to the point to where you're making profits consistently for 2 years, then you can consider leaving your job.
Okay.
So I'm using that as a personal goal, and I'm not shy to say that I'm not there yet, but it's like I said, we're all still learning. I'm definitely still learning. So once I get to that point, then yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll start sending you guys pictures from the beach.
Okay.
With a Corona and a laptop and everything,
Living large, ForexKobane.
There you go.
All right. So, so is there anything else you wanted to share with us today, or are you interested in having people follow you on Twitter? You tell me where you want to take it from here, buddy.
Yeah. I'll share a little bit more on the chart side, and then I'll pop in the trading view for just a little bit.
Okay.
So this is a multi-pane window, and it helps keep me it helps keep my focus on what's also going on a higher time frame. So I don't typically look at a time frame much higher than a 13-hour. That's the 780 minute here.
Okay.
And as I already showed you, I do actually spend a lot of time charting in the 5-hour. So that's this one in the middle. And then where I'll kind of try to pinpoint or execute trades really is in the 78 minute.
Did you choose that because it's a FID number like 78.6?
Yep. As a matter of fact, I did. So that's a good observation. You're
very creative. Good. You're very, very, very creative. Okay, so yeah, and you're also, so there's another for someone using the 78.6 as a time frame. So the 78.6 is kind of like your trigger chart, right? And the other two kind of give you biases.
Exactly.
Okay. So what are you seeing here in the euro?
Well, this was pre-market open. So really, what I was expecting was for us to probe this box again, and I've already identified this level, this 1.175. Yep.
Did we do that?
I'm going to go to the trading view chart, and we're going to find out. And also, it would be taking out these highs too. So that would also be a pretty significant or a good reason to pull a reversal.
Okay. So maybe a stop hunt over 17.5 would be kind of what you're looking for.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So it's not always guaranteed. Sometimes we'll pull back, real close. So if we have a look here. This is the chart moving. So
I sure hope you have a different ending to your story than Kurt Cobain did.
Yeah, as long as I keep doing well trading, then I don't think I'm going to be pulling out any shotguns. So,
all right.
So,
is that how he did? It wasn't an overdose. He used a weapon.
He used a shotgun. It was actually kind of interesting. I mean, he put a shotgun in his mouth and he pulled the trigger with his toes. I don't think many people can do that.
Wow. So yoga helped him commit suicide. There's a health benefit to yoga. All right, so
there you go.
But I love Jesse Livermore, but I want a different ending than Jesse too. So,
Exactly.
trading is only what we do; it's not who we are. So let me quote you on that, okay, buddy? And so you want to get to a level so that each trade is not life or death. And that you're not celebrating too much when things work out, and you're not feeling too discouraged on losing trades so that you get into a fetal position. What you want to get to is it's just another trade.
Certainly. Yeah,
okay.
100%. It's also a psychological game. You'll learn a lot of things about yourself through trading. And definitely to anybody who's listening, if you get yourself in a bind and you're in a fetal position, I mean, reach out to some other traders, talk to them. Just know that you're not alone. We've all been there. I've blown accounts. I've been margin called. It's one of the shittiest feelings ever. So it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
So here's actually the current chart. Here's Euro working for us right now, and check that out, Dale. It actually reversed right exactly at that level.
Yeah, nice line, man. Beautiful.
So
I'm rooting for you.
Well, thank you very much. I'm rooting for all of us.
Okay. Well,
I know there's got to be somebody on the other side of my trade, but I'm even rooting for them sometimes.
Oh yeah, you depending upon your time frame, you could be long and short and be right on both of them.
Yeah.
Or wrong on both of them. So
exactly.
What a business, huh? So I want to say thank you for being with us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Is this your first interview?
Yeah, this is my first interview.
You did great. So, you made another breakthrough. You made a public presentation to, a few hundred people or more, and sharing your journey is really planting good seeds, because we all learn from each other, and there's many people trying to do exactly what you're doing. So keep it up, and have the fighting spirit, and one day I think you're going to be having that corona. I believe in you, buddy. So thank you for being my trading warrior brother and coming into FA.C.E today.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having me, Dale. Appreciate it. Appreciate what you do too.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, everyone, that's Turnaround Tuesday. If you want to follow ForexKobane, it's at ForexKobane. Is there an underscore on that, Jake?
There's not. Just all run together.
Okay, at ForexKobane. Follow him. Follow him on his journey. There it is. He's showing it for us. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Good hunting, and see you tomorrow. And don't just count your pips, count your blessings. Adios, everyone. Thanks again, Cobain.
You got it. See you, Dale.
All right. Bye-bye.